Patrick Bateman's skincare routine gets glazed all over YouTube and TikTok, yeah. But for a guy who's obsessed with looking young, he's somehow missing one of the most important, arguably the most important steps in any skincare routine. Today we're breaking down what he actually gets right, the red flags nobody talks about, and why his routine isn't nearly as perfect as people make it out to be. And I'll show you a simple routine that doesn't skip the most important step. Okay, before we get into the video, I want to preface this. All of the edits in 2022, we remember those. Everybody says like this skincare routine, but I haven't heard anybody give like actual critiques on it because there are some really big red flags. There's some over exfoliation. There's no use of sunscreen. We're going to dive into that in a bit, but there is a few good things in this video that we're going to get into, like the aftershave and stuff like that. There is some alarming things in the order of that he does things. You cannot do this every single day. We're just going to get straight into the video.
I believe in taking care of myself, in a balanced diet and a rigorous exercise routine. In the morning, if my face is a little puffy, I'll put on an ice pack.
Very first thing he does, I actually kind of like this. So when you sleep overnight, if your head isn't elevated on a pillow, if your head isn't perfectly elevated, or you sleep on your side, which is totally fine. Sometimes your body can store like a lot of lymphatic fluid inside your cheeks or on one side of your face. So using an ice pack does help. He does some like crunches and stuff in the morning too. But this is all right. It isn't a complete necessity, but it helps drain lymphatic fluid out of your cheeks. So there's a plus right there.
A water-activated gel cleanser.
There's a gel cleanser and a lotion cleanser, and I see that he's using both of them on his face, and it looks to be like he's putting a little bit of it in his hair too. So far, he's used two cleansers. I've seen him apply on his face, which it's okay for some people. So this routine is slightly okay to follow if you have extremely oily skin, but for balanced to dry skin, this is really so far. Using two different cleansers, it's okay.
The almond
Body scrub and
on the face,
stuff like that.
an exfoliating gel scrub.
And then another exfoliant on the face. So we're up to 3 now. I'm gonna go down and say 2 because I don't know if he used it on his body. He didn't clearly specify. But we're up to 3 different cleansers so far. And he puts a mask. I have no idea if this is hydrating. It could pull a little bit of oil out of your skin. It is urban that is really cooling on your face. So I guess it's all right. But it is implied.
I always use an aftershave lotion with little or no alcohol.
To be clear, he used about 3 different cleansers in the shower. Then he puts a mask on, which is supposed to rehydrate at the end. And then after taking off the mask, it's implied that he also shaves, which is another exfoliant. So we're up to 3 or 4. And the aftershave is good. I'll give a plus on that. Use little to no alcohol into it, because all alcohol does is act as an antiseptic. You can use something better like an almond block, or I like to use aloe vera after I shave if I do use a safety razor. That's the only plus I would give there. But again, shaving is another exfoliant, and even if I don't use an exfoliant and I shave, I would usually count that as the exfoliant since my skin is really dry and I'd use some peptides to lock moisture in. But he's cleansing his face way too much. He does like restore it, some of it with some of the lotions that he used. But still, it is pretty alarming because this is way too aggressive. You can't do this every day. Maybe once a week, this is pretty good, but this is not something you should be doing daily, and I get that from a writing perspective. It's supposed to highlight the obsessiveness.
Alcohol dries your face out and makes you look older. Then moisturizer, then an anti-aging eye balm followed by final moisturizing protective lotion. There is no real.
And then he does the all-in-one peel and stuff like that, and I'm pretty sure that is it for the routine, but we're forgetting something, and that's that we're not using any sunscreen. This is so alarming. At the end of a routine, you just exfoliated your face so much. It's so raw, and for somebody that's so worried about aging, not using sunscreen, I bet if there was more knowledge and tanning wasn't such a thing back then, he would be using lots of sunscreen. But that's the one thing you got to do if you do follow this routine. I would only do it once a week if you do something similar to this, but you have to put sunscreen at the end of the routine. So rating this from 1 to 10, if you're doing it every single day and you're not using sunscreen, I would give it like a 2 out of 10. It's just horrible. It defeats the entire purpose of it. If you do it like once a week, just like you do like a clay mask once a week, then it's okay. And even then you do apply sunscreen just as a heavy cleansing day. But daily use, I would just use a daily general cleanser, or you'd have to look into something that's very specific to your skin type. But I see people following this dot for dot, and I don't think they really get the point of it, that this is like extremely obsessive. yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into what I do for my routine and what could be done way better. And let's get into that. Okay, to order it for most, pretty much all routines is exfoliate and shave, then add your creams and your peptides, your eye creams, then moisturize and apply sunscreens. Okay, the next stage is the treatment stage. This is where you're gonna put your dark spot creams, your under eye elixirs, your peptides, whether that's copper or PDRN. Now for the penultimate step of the routine, obviously a moisturizer. Just make sure, I guess, it isn't scented, and make sure it doesn't automatically irritate your skin. There isn't really anything that's bad. There are a few specific things, but this step is really simple. Okay, the biggest thing he missed, sunscreen. I'm gonna be for real with you guys. Okay, so he exfoliated the skin about what, 4 different times? And on top of that, he's gonna go outside with no sun protection, with all of that, those dead skin cells removed. That's only allowing for UV radiation obviously penetrate deeper. That's the one thing that breaks down the elastin in your skin. And it's not, oh, it just makes you visibly like look older and stuff like that. What happens when the collagen gets damaged in your skin is you're going to bruise easier. Your skin is going to sag. The DNA is basically getting damaged. And with the one thing with DNA damage is DNA is basically age. You know, DNA shortens with age, with lifespan. So once it gets damaged, you can't really reverse it. You cannot reverse DNA damage. Skin irritation, acne, and those two things can be reversed with good skincare and stuff like that, but DNA damage is a single one thing that cannot be reversed, so I can't stress sunscreen enough. These are the results I ended up getting, and it was like extremely simple. So like right here, we did some really simple things. But this is the end video. Some of the stuff you can swap out depending on your skin type, but these are my final results.